How are you feeling?
Still nervous, but better.
Okay. So, do you remember the first time we met?
First time we went, in Laporto.
Yes, in the portal there, Shambhala.
Yeah, it was very fun night.
Yes,
I'm
it
glad that
was.
I met you there.
Likewise. What was your favorite topic of conversation there?
On that night,
Mhm.
I think time, about time.
Mm.
We were talking about time, right?
That the time is an illusion?
Yeah. You yeah, you mentioned somehow like the spiraling things, no?
Yes, the
Right?
mystical experience. Mhm.
Beside the what the past, present and the future
Yeah, so
that
you have,
really connect
if you're in
us.
the point, you can see sort of time like a donut with a hole in the middle, and it's
Yeah.
like past is this way, present is this way, but it's a closed circle.
Mm.
So if you go forward in time enough, you come back to the present moment, and if you go backwards enough, you come to the present
Just a
moment as well.
moment, yes.
But then also you have another ring going in this direction, and that is the actions. The actions that you can take, which are like every possible action you can take in this present moment. And of course, it's infinite. And since it's infinite, you have the whole loop, let's just say. And each loop is then happening on each split second of existence.
Mm. Well, it is interesting for me that how open our conversation at that time with our friends and how I think taking a rain
We talked
in that
about so many
moment.
topics. It
Yeah,
was
we
very
talked so
fun.
many. It was very good. It is a good way to celebrate the new year, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But the thing that's still lasting in me is that how we connect
Mhm.
and how I reflect on myself at that time.
Mhm.
Mostly, what do you think is the dynamic of if we are in such big groups and then we are talking and then one person at that time me talking my stories and then other person is listening, what sort of energy you're giving? Because personally I think, which is later I'll talk about that too, after that kind of meeting I feel like I talk so much.
But that's a good thing, I think. You have amazing stories to tell, and that's why it's good that you're talking, no?
Yeah, in the way that it is impressive as it is, maybe as it was. I mean, but I feel that I need to really reassess how I give my energy to people
Mhm.
because after that I was so exhausted
Mhm.
and I feel that from the first time we're talking about the concept of time in my book, and then I talk about my personal things, my dad, my mom, my family. So I feel that in just a matter of second later, I will talk about more personal things. So that kind of loose energy.
Mhm.
How did you feel that, and how you have you ever experienced that in your life? Like
I think
you
it's
can,
only
someone
natural.
can dig easily on you.
Well, generally, I think that people are open books. It's very easy to read people. It's very easy to get to know people if you're interested in people. So my general rules for talking with people is assume that the person that you're talking to knows something that you do not know. That way you can be always interested because the moment you have this idea, you're gonna start asking questions. You're gonna and be genuinely interested in people because each person has a story and each person has a very unique story that can be either similar or very different from one another. But these are absolutely amazing journeys. Like you've had all sorts of experiences during your travels, and I've had exactly the same. Like I've had travels, but our travels would have been very different. And so even though we would be under the umbrella of travelers, right? The way we choose to travel would be very different because personally, I chose to stay with the monks, right? And I studied with the monks, whereas how you traveled.
How I traveled.
I think it's
Yeah.
better you say how you traveled.
Yeah. I mostly it was instinctive. Oh, like yesterday, I attend Greece numerology in La Portal.
Was it yesterday? Oh, she did
No,
it
no,
again?
2 days ago.
Yeah, because I was there.
2 days. Oh, yeah, you.
I was sitting next to you. I don't know if you remember. I was there.
I'm sorry, delete that. Edit that. Okay. I think
We are recording this.
it's so much fun. Okay. No, I think that travel, I think without me knowing, I think that travel is bringing myself towards spirituality without me knowing, because I am not planning any travels. I'm not planning any traveling at all. And then it's 7 countries in 7 months. And then I think, I just talked to, what is it at that time? Who is it? Two girls, the French girl. Yes.
Oh, the girl that was in Singapore for a while.
Yeah.
The singer.
The French girl. Yeah, the singer. Yeah. I thought that
She might be with us tomorrow for the ritual.
Oh, for the ritual.
Yes.
Okay, good. And she said that and Grace too said to me, oh yeah, I travel 7 countries, and see, it's actually introduction to your life right now, that you're going to be in 7 power, because it's 7 countries, and and it was amazing. I didn't know that instinctively I think the fate or the universe guide me to that power, because I was traveling to Turkey, and then for Armenia, which is the first Christian countries that's adopt, and then after that I ending with Saudi, which is like a complete travel in the words. Like, it gives me a lot of reflections that is actually arranged somehow. That travels. I didn't plan at all, and then it's just get there. Travel only for seeing something. Seeing friends, but I end up doing spiritual pilgrimage.
Because you said that the travels get you to the point of spirituality. So how would you define, or how would you say the spirituality manifests itself in your life?
I became more aware that somehow spirituality cannot be entangled with judgment. The way I was brought up, I was raised, became a devout Muslim, and then I'm still devout Muslim, by the way. But in the way I see the world as it is right now, separated from a very narrow identity, I would say, rather to be more contributing towards differences, but in the way I became myself, right? What about you? What do you think spirituality is, and how do you see in today's world? People related them to becoming religious or something. How do you see yourself?
In my eyes, I think spirituality is a personal journey to the divinity, to the divine. In my eyes, religion is there to remind us that there is something greater than physicality, that there is something beyond the physical realm of what we can see and touch. Whilst at the same time, the spiritual path is something that is very internal, but it has a profound effect upon the outside. Because the moment you allow yourself to see clearly what is happening within yourself, is the moment you gain clarity about everything that's going around you. One of the main concepts of alchemy is as above, so below, as within, so without. meaning that anything that's happening above manifests itself here on earth, and anything that is going within you, it's reflected outside of you. So generally what I see is that everything that I observe around me in my environment is just a reflection of what's going on within me. Generally in psychology they say that you see a reflection of your own projections. So anything that you have judged or pushed away, it manifests itself in the people that you interact with. So anything that you judge, anything that you don't like, anything that you like in another person is something that you have within yourself that you either like, judge, or dislike. And so, in a way, spirituality is a path beyond the physical, but simultaneously, very paradoxically, it makes you more present with everything that is around you. It makes you more connected with reality itself. It makes you more connected with life and with the people that you interact. Because you start seeing yourself as a part of a greater whole rather than apart from the world.
I want to touch down on that. So if you think that whole these spirituality things become an umbrella of faith, right? So where does religions as a specific compartments of that spirituality, I guess, playing a role, which later create identity? For example, I said that I'm Muslim, you're Christian, they're Buddhist, and there is something. So isn't that very contradicts with the spiritual things? Where is the middle ground of that? You know, because in some cases you cannot practice that because religion, you know, like if you believe in everything, you don't believe in anything, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. So how we reconcile that, you know, in order to find.
It's not an easy question, to be honest. And I don't think
I'm
there's
thinking that too.
a very simple answer I can just give like one sentence and be satisfied with it. The way I see it, there are as many paths to God as there are people on earth. So to the absolute, to God, to the highest of the most high, there are as many paths as there are people, because each person is unique in their own way. Each person has their own unique light, and therefore only that person can fully embody what it means to be you, what it means to be them. Therefore, the path to God for them will be different than it would be for me, because they're facing different challenges than I am facing. They are facing different problems that I am facing. Maybe in a more abstract sense, they're dealing with the same things, like maybe they have some money problems, maybe they have some health issues, but a health issue of a broken leg is very different than a health issue of cancer. And so the approach to it would be different, completely different. So the problems in a bigger sense are the same, but in the devil lies in the details, they say, right? And so in my eyes, the practices that are adequate or not adequate is very dependent upon the environment in which you find yourself in, upon the individual journey that you're taking towards God. This is why you have the dualistic paths, you have non-dualistic paths, you have many different religions that generally the overarching story is always the same. Choose love above all else, and love thyself as you love love thy neighbor as you love thyself.
Yeah, the same, the same.
Yeah, and so as long as you're choosing compassion, you're already doing something good, in my eyes, because all religions talk about compassion, all religions talk about forgiveness, because they're pointing towards some higher principles. Because what I see generally as a problem in modern societies that have advanced technologically a lot is often a big neglect in regards to morality and tradition. Because why should I care about anything else other than the pleasure that I can get now? You can see this in a Western society often, and that as a result completely corrupts any forms of backbone or morality or any sort of living by principle ways of living. in my eyes, as bad. Because I think this is where the religion or spirituality is very important, that there are certain things that you should never do regardless of the circumstances. And I think there are situations in life where choosing to die would be better than doing certain actions. So if you're presented with a very, very gruesome example, right? You're presented with the idea that somebody gives you a gun and tells you to shoot someone, or you will be killed. In my eyes, the best thing you can do is refuse. Of course, we can go into many abstracts, like shoot the person or whatever. But in my eyes, the best thing you can say is say no. Because if we go into, for example, the ideas of karma from Hinduism or Buddhism, we have the idea that if you do something bad is going to happen to you. But more importantly, each action has a ripple effect within eternity. So anything that you do now will have an echo within the next generations. Because maybe your smile or a compliment that you give to a random stranger is going to brighten up their day, and as a result of brightening up their day, it's going to give them the motivation to work on a project that's going to start a business, that's going to employ many people, that's going to have a ripple effect upon the entire society over time. You never know. And the same thing with a bad action. Maybe by killing somebody, you're ultimately dooming the society to die, because maybe this person would have found a cure for cancer, you know? And so I believe that there are certain principles that we should live by, that we should never break, regardless of how difficult or how tough the situations become.
So, from that broad definition, I can assume that so the spirituality is like an umbrella, while also you say that the path each individual taken is based individually. So I think in this way, religion can be regarded as an approach. Let's say for the basis of reconciling all the things, and to the very simple things, is an approach towards a God. I mean, your approach is towards probably Christianity, their approach is Hinduism, that my approach is Islam. So that's what you mean.
I would say, like, the whole point of religion is to try and make us better. To try and make us more noble in our ways. Like in the ancient Greece, we had the ideas that you want to live by virtues, and the Greeks spent a lot of time trying to figure out what these virtues were, right? Compassion, patience, self-discipline, self-restraint. All these things would be considered virtues because they create greater good for everybody. Whilst it may not satisfy the ego, it does create a sense of happiness and contentment over long time. And in my eyes, it all depends upon the road of an individual, because if a person wishes to be the best lawyer in the world, well, spending all day, every day playing basketball and going to the gym and not studying at all is probably not the path that is going to get them to becoming a lawyer. And so this is the thing about the path. There are many paths, and there are unique ways of becoming yourself. But only you know the way to become your unique self. Because if you wish to be the best mountain climber, you're probably going to be climbing a lot of mountains. But if you wish to be the best video game player in the world, you're probably going to spend a lot of time playing computer games. And for this person who is a mountain climber, playing computer games is not the right thing to do, because it does not align with his mission on this earth. Whereas for the video game person, climbing mountains is not going to be in alignment to becoming the best gamer, right? So the way I see it, we all have a purpose why we're here, and this purpose is already instilled within us. It's deeply within us. And as long as we don't allow the societal conditioning to completely overrule us, like social medias and stuff like this, to clutter our mind too much, we know exactly what it is that we want, and it is only through limitations that, or perceived limitations, that we start to say, oh, it's not, I cannot make this, I cannot do this, I need to find something more down to earth, I need to find something more real. Like you hear it often in the West, it's like, I cannot be an artist because my mom or dad wants me to be a lawyer, a doctor, like to get a real job and real education, you know? You probably would have the same problems in Asia, where the expectations of the parents are, you need to be a lawyer, you need to be a doctor, you need to be an engineer, like proper job, you know, and not something imaginary, so to speak. And so that's one of the ways in which society can stop our true potential from coming forth.
Yeah. Right. The dispense of that, the absence of those kind of understanding that everyone has their own path, like you said, the destructions of the only the eagerness to do what you desire to do, and setting aside some morals or some there that is being embedded in a very long time ago, and then at the end of the day, you you're you're making your desire a god. You're making your your willpower as the only way, while we also believe that how unlimitless potential we have in the term of desire. We have limiting, you know, like kind of I don't know what to say, what to put in English.
Take your time.
What I'm trying to say is that we only see our desire by the factual eyes, right? Like,
well, this is the differentiation I would create. There is, to a certain extent, a battle within us between what you could consider the higher self and the lower self. And so,
what is it exactly talking about? Like the hierarchy of need, or
not exactly. The way I would see, there is a part of you that strives for greatness, to be the best, to be the best that you can possibly be. This is the part of you that wants you to go outside of your comfort zone, and this is the part of you that is calling for God, let's just say, calling for the highest, to be the best person you can be, to be the most upstanding, the best version of yourself you can ever imagine yourself to be. And then there is the other part of you, which is the sabotaging part of you, which is the self-destructive part, which, if left unchecked, it starts to destroy the higher self. So, for example, in the story of the Bible, we have the story of Cain and Abel. And Cain and Abel, two brothers.
Yeah. Okay.
And generally, the way it's described is, Abel was a guy who did everything right, and he gave all the best sacrifices and all the best offerings to God. And as a result, everybody loved him and everything multiplied for him. And Cain, he didn't give the best sacrifices. he gave sacrifices, but they were not the
50 kids.
It's like, I have the best carrot here, but here is a different carrot. It's like, I give you a carrot, but not the best one I have.
Okay, carrot.
So the way you would consider it psychologically is like, so he wasn't doing the best that he could, basically. So the idea of giving sacrifices to God is, you always give to God the best that there is, because that means you're willing to give to the world the best that there is. So your sacrifice to the world is that you're showing up to be the best version of yourself.
Wow, that's
and
a
so
good thing.
What happens is, things don't go well for Cain because he's not giving the best. And when he confronts God about it, God says, well, it's your fault. Do better and things will go better. And instead of doing that, what Cain does is he kills his brother. He kills this highest version of himself. And the punishment is what's very interesting in my eyes, is that he doesn't get killed as a punishment for killing his own brother. What happens is he gets condemned to suffer for the rest of his life, and everything that he touches turns to destruction. It falls apart. And this is exactly what happens to us. Because the moment we have a higher ideal, the moment we have this higher self that we work towards, this is what gives us hope. This is what makes us better. This is what makes us improve. But the moment we get rid of our higher self, the moment we get rid of the possibility of a better life that we can imagine, is the moment we're left with nothing but suffering. Because there is suffering in life, there is pain in life, but the moment you don't have a justification for the suffering, you're just suffering for the sake of suffering. Your suffering becomes meaningless, and for many people, it's too much to bear. And since you got rid of your higher self, since you got rid of that factor that was making you better, well, the only thing you have is going down and becoming more bitter, more resentful, more angry, more hate, more of all these things.
It's like the worst.
Yeah, because you start going down, down, down. Because you're no longer aiming up. You're no longer aiming towards God, which we would consider to be the highest possible ideal. You got rid of that, and so what you're left with? You're just left with pain and suffering and nothing to show for it. And that leads people to become in a lot of pain, very hurt. And when you experience too much hurt without any direction, you start going down into suicidal depression and all these different things. But another way it happens is the moment we have this higher calling to do something, is just we just keep saying no to ourselves. Because the moment you start saying no to yourself over and over and over, it's like, let's do this, no. Let's do this, no. Because your body has natural needs, wants, and desires, right? It has a certain path that it wants to take. It wants to try this food. It wants to experience life. Because life is about experiencing it as well. And so the moment we start saying no to everything, eventually the body goes like, well, why do I even exist? If it's not okay to be me in any way, shape, or form, because anything I propose gets negated, it says no, then why am I alive? And so that's how people end up in a depression very quickly. Because for everyone that comes up, oh, let's pick up sports. No, there's too much hassle. Oh, let's go to the gym. No, I'm feeling too lazy. Let's cook something. No, I cook tomorrow. And so you're literally going from infinite potential to infinite limitations. You're setting more and more limitations in every direction. And the more and longer you do that, the more difficult it is for the body to do something, because each next thing that you say no to, it becomes more difficult thing.
Ah, I see.
But I went on a little tangent here. Just talking and talking.
It makes sense. Okay, wait a second. I think it's relaxing.
Thank you.
Yeah, the view is good, and then we have to celebrate with good things.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
So what's your take on this? Do you think that we have some sort of purpose here on earth, or even do you think that there is something like a higher calling that people would have?
Yeah, this is from coming from what I know. It's pretty much believed that in tradition that I was raised in, as everyone is becoming Khalifa. It's mean becoming the leader. Be it this taken from a very original literal meaning, the leader for themselves. The leader for themselves. I mean, directing, which are you directing life is. And it was taken in a wrong way sometimes, the leader things, becoming Khalifa.
So it's like become the leader of your life.
Yeah, the leader of your life. Like in Islam, they said like that, became Khalifatul Earth, they became the leader in respect of any leaders. But I think for myself also is the most original thing, the leader for yourself. leader for your community, and then the leader for your community, the leader for this, for this, for this, for this. But that's the purpose, the sole purpose that I was raised in. But along the time, I met with the people around the world, and I saw many things, and then I began to start something that somehow the purpose is just becoming responsible towards the life you've been given, not taking it for granted.
So responsibility is an
responsibility
part.
Yeah, and also, if I take it, that responsibility is the core value of becoming a leader, right?
Yeah, because you need to be accountable, right?
Yes.
If you make a mistake, you need to say, yes, I made a mistake, so you can learn.
Yeah, that part is the responsible part, becoming general than a leader itself for me, because you don't have to be a leader if you want to be responsible for your life, right? You got what I mean? For the example, you don't have to feel that you're a leader. You just need to feel that you are respecting your life, and then so that's why you're responsible to 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 direct it, to live by it. You know? Yes, I'm still long way to go to that sense.
Life is like a journey. It's like as long as you're alive, you've got a way to go.
What about yourself?
Well, in regards to what you said, I think the excellence, so becoming good at something, is a natural thing that makes you a leader. So I've seen and I observed this several times in my life where, because I was interested in something, I started to study it, and as I started to study it and practice it, I became good at it. And the moment I became good at it, people naturally gravitated towards me to show them the way. So to give you an example,
as a leader,
yes, you become a leader as a side effect of becoming good at something. That's the way I see it. Because, for example, I started playing basketball, and I really loved it when I first started playing. And
you
so
play it professionally?
No. In Ireland, there were no opportunities. So this is the story I'm gonna go for.
Do.
I really enjoyed basketball, but there was no basketball team, because Ireland is not really developed when it comes to basketball. And so I started. There was adults basketball happening at the time, but there were no kids basketball really. There was no team of any sort. So there was one guy who was organizing it for the kids, but there was no team or anything. So but I really enjoyed the basketball, and I started to play, and I started to do the drills. I started to just get better and better at it through training. And as a result, because I was so inspired by the game, I started to ask my friends, I said, guys, there's basketball, would you like to play? And I managed to actually get several of my friends from school to come and join the basketball. And soon after, I don't know, I'm talking about
college?
We're talking about 14, 16, 17 years old. This time frame, between 14 and 17. Within 1 year, I managed to pull together a team where we started to play against towns around us.
Intercity, you mean?
Yeah, like within different cities. We were not a proper team by like we were just starting to play, but it was fascinating that somehow within all of this, I became a team captain. Even though I was not the best player, actually my friend Patrick, he was the best player. He was way better skill-wise than me, but somehow I had the passion and the inspiration to pull everybody together. Because he was a very good player, but he didn't want to have anything to do with organizing or anything. And I was like, well, I really want to play. And he's like, I want to play too, but whatever.
It's interesting.
So somehow I ended up being team captain, and many people looked up to me as a result of me just wanting to play. and that's why I became the team captain. And it was the same, like completely other side of the story. I started a Wii club.
Huh?
Wii club in the school. So
Wii
we were
club?
Wii club. So the
Wii
games.
club.
The old Wii thing.
Yeah,
we had Xbox. We had some computers.
Yeah.
I really wanted to play games. I like computer games as a child, and so I really wanted to play. I couldn't play at home. It was not allowed. So I started to talk to the teacher if maybe, because we had computers, if we could play during break times. And we started to have a computer club. And soon after, I got together with my teacher and we wrote a request for a grant. And we actually received the grant. And so we bought a big TV and we bought the Wii and we bought an Xbox. So it was a full-on computer club, let's just say, to put it differently, that I started running. Because I was the one who applied for the grant. We got the grant, so congratulations, you're the owner of this thing, run it. And I was only like 14 at the time. And there were guys who were coming, they were 16, 17, 18. They could have done much better job than me when it came to running the thing. But again, I was passionate about it.
Yeah, is that your first spark to do like some leadership part toward yourself, you say?
I think so, yeah, because again, I was responsible for running it. So if I wouldn't show up, there would be no Wii club. But now people already heard that there is a computer club and they want to join. And so everybody would come to me. It's like, are you going to do it today? It's like, why won't you do it yourself? It's like, are you going to do it today? It's like, okay, I'll do it. And so, because nobody else wanted to do it. So that brings me to a second point where you need to be willing to put in the work that nobody else wants to do. And you need to be willing to take responsibility and accountability for the problems and mistakes that arise as a result of picking up this work. Yeah. Because I was responsible, but at the same time, in order for the computer club to run, I had to get a teacher to be present with us, because as kids we're not allowed to be alone within the classroom during break time. And so I had to get in contact with teachers and ask which teachers are willing to help us and support us and all of this. And so I became this mediator between the kids and the teachers, whilst I myself didn't even speak proper English yet. I was only learning English at the time.
Yeah. So one consciousness of following your path open up to many opportunities that you said ripple effect.
Yes.
That other people start following you, and then that's pretty much by definition of a leader, definition of for the higher good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think leader leads by example and is an inspiration to others, rather than someone who stands and tells people what to do. I think that's not a leader. Like if you're standing telling, yeah, exactly. A leader is someone who does his stuff to the best of his ability, and as a result, naturally inspires people.
Naturally inspire people.
Yeah. Because personally, I never looked to be a leader. I didn't look to be a team captain. I didn't look to be person running this thing.
Me too.
But somehow it just happens, you know?
Yeah, me too. Always like that. I specifically remember my experience too. It's funny that in Indonesia we have gerak jalan. It's like march thing, you know, for welcoming Independence Day. Usually we have that competition. I remember in the 6th grade, nobody wants to take a charge to be like the captain of the marching, you know, marching like gerak jalan marching. And you know my height.
You're a giant.
My height, my voice, but at that time I was so determined that I want to be, you know, I want to represent the school, you know, because it's inter-school. And then I volunteer myself, while also the student with the average height, with the taller, you know, height, and they were all hiding because, you know, you're not they're not willing to sunburn and to have the marching practices every day. And then I say, it's just only once in a year, and it's on our Independence Day, so what's not? And then the headmaster was furious because at that time when we're in line, and then all the taller average student were retracted to the back and didn't want to show up. And then the headmaster is just pointing at whoever standing in the front, becoming a captain of the march. And
it was you.
it was me. It was me. And then so funny because all the things that were with me is taller than me, and I became the captain with, oh, Charles, what is that? Something like that. And to me, that precise moment, that small moment adds up to become my patronum, to become my, my things when I'm sad, specifically. I remind myself to that moment, that actually I have power. Like, that's one. But coming to the next point. So from the example, right, we talk about spirituality and so this sort of thing, and then the purpose in life, higher good, you becoming a good at, becoming a responsible accountability leader, and then summarizing all of that chronological questions. How would you use that power? How do you manage that? Let's say it's not the power for general, that energy. How you use, because remember I talked to you about our first New Year gathering, and then I feel like I'm dominating. So I don't know what you feel, but I feel like I talk too much. And then
I think everybody wanted to hear you talk. That's why everybody was giving you the space to talk.
Exactly, giving me space to talk, but at the same time I feel like I'm exerting too much. When do I have to retract my energy, or when should I know that, oh, I'm giving too much, oh, this one is not proportional, I have to,
Unless we look at the individual examples, it's very difficult to state this one. But I would say enough is enough, and you know when is enough. You can see, especially in a conversation with people, you can see if people are engaged, if people want to listen, or if they're on their phone scrolling, So that is a very clear indication whether you're overstepping certain boundaries. But best thing is to just listen to yourself, because you know what you wish to share. And so since you know what you wish to share, you just share that, and you look at the response of the people. And if the response is great, amazing. If the response is not so great, adjust it. And I don't mean change what you're saying, but not every person is going to be willing to listen to the same story in the exact same way. So you could tell the same story with just changing the way you build sentences, but tell still the same story, the same meaning of the story, and it will captivate different people.
Is it more technical rather than the energy working? I mean, I'm talking about like when to know to stop before you get the stop response from that person.
What's wrong with getting a stop response from the person?
No, I mean, Nico, you understand what I mean? No, when, let's say, it became in a word mysterious, like stillness. Stillness. Okay, how do you define the energy here? The energy is just like
Can you specify the question a little bit, because it's what you mean? How do I define energy? What type of energy? You mean in this room, in Bali, generally, like
I also confused myself.
Physical energy, thermal energy?
No, when to know when to embody that, you say that when no one's like giving you response, like kind of playing phone and this and that, it's pretty much understandable. So before they're giving response like that, when did I know that it's already enough to get a proportion? Not in the way that interacted with people, but in the way with myself too.
I think the best way to get through that one is by paying attention to yourself and paying attention to others, because before they pick up the phone, there will be cues that they would give. Maybe they roll their eyes, maybe they start yawning, maybe they try to change the topic. People will try to navigate and steer the conversation in a way that suits them, or in a way that allows them to speak what it is they want to speak about. And so we need to be open and we need to be attentive.
Okay, that's in the communication. I'm talking about the energy of doing something. This is in another story. Doing something, so much thing. It so happened to, if you are in doing something and then there are something that needs to be done more. I know it's priority things, but what if both of them or three of them, let's say, are priority?
Oh, okay. You're asking me, how do you decide what action to take in a present moment when presented with several choices?
Yeah, and in the light of controlling energy, because doing a lot of things at the same time, like in a very basic understand, and it's energy wasted, right? Energy exhausted. I don't know if it is. So how do you define? Because it's happened a lot too. We are aware that we need to do something about it, but sometimes,
Well, it will go back to what you already mentioned, which is having a very clear priority structure. Because the moment you know what your priorities are, you know where these actions fall into. And so whatever is on your highest priority, you do that one first. And whatever is on your lowest priority, you do that one last. Like chronic procrastinators do the opposite. They do the things that are least important first, and they leave the most important things to the last.
What is the least important is for the longer term.
The least important thing is
It's for the longer term.
Is the thing that you know is not going to bring you any sort of positive result in the long run.
No, I know it's gonna give me positive thing in the long run if I did it, but it's in the long term. But if I don't do it now, it's just to be it's just going to be delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed until nothing. While the very priority right now, if I don't do that, I also don't survive.
It's about balance. It's all about finding the right balance. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're talking about the things that you need to do now in order to survive, and the things that you want to do in order to have long-term better futures.
Long-term better futures, but like you said, it has a ripple effect. If I don't do it now, it's getting delayed. Yeah.
Why not just do it now?
Because the energy didn't allow me. The energy, I feel that I need to do, like you said, the priority first.
Yeah.
The energy first, give it to the priority. Yeah. I give it to the priority. But let's say me experiencing it, although not me, sometimes me. I'm sorry. Let's say that, I give that priority. I give that energy to the priority, but at the same time, the mind is wondering about that long-term things.
Yeah.
Which is also energy to keep thinking about that thing, getting delayed.
Here, I think Buddhism has very good wisdom for this one.
That's the one I'm looking for.
They talk about being in the present moment and fully focusing your entire attention upon the thing that you're doing right now. When I started applying this one in my life, I've noticed that I suddenly had a lot more energy and I had suddenly a lot more time than I thought that I had. Because the moment you are doing some stuff and you're thinking about doing next thing, you're actually burning twice as much energy. And as a result, you spend a lot more time on the task that you're doing, that you become less effective at the task that you're doing, and you're burning up more energy, meaning you will have less energy for the next task and less motivation. So the moment you become present with what you're doing and you stop thinking about what to do next, is the moment you're gonna do your tasks a lot faster, you're gonna be a lot more efficient, and you're gonna enjoy the tasks a lot more because you're gonna be in the present moment, and since you're gonna be in the present moment, you're gonna be far more likely to find joy in what it is that you're doing. I think that's it. Because the moment you're in the present moment is the moment you're here and now. So you're taking all of your energy and you're directing it into one thing. So you're making it manifest. But the moment you start sending the energy in different directions, that's the moment you don't get anything done. You can relate to this one probably.
Too much. you know? Yeah. It's funny now. Yeah, I got that. It's clears up.
But generally, if you want to be effective in life and in the things that you're doing, is have a clear structure, priority structure, what is important. In order to have that, you need to be relatively clear as to what direction you want to go in life. It can be very vague. It doesn't have to be specific. It could be, I just want to be better than I was yesterday. So what is better? Okay, more fit, more educated, better health, better nutrition. There are many things that you can take care of without having a plan what to do next. Because we know what it means to be better. Like when you imagine the best possible person, you think about someone who is strong, who is fit, who has good endurance, who is eating healthy, who is successful in many areas of life. Right? They have good relationships, they probably have a business, and the business is doing well. So we can imagine that without being specific about it, because the specifics would be then how we embody that with our own unique light. So exercise is good for everybody, but perhaps for me, powerlifting is the best thing I could do. And for you, playing basketball would be the best thing that you could do. That's where you will find your exercise. And we could have another person who is a swimmer, and so he goes and swims every day. Each of these things are a form of exercise that creates health, but each of them creates a completely different person, right? A swimmer has a completely different developed body than a basketball player, and a basketball player has a completely different body than a bodybuilder or a powerlifter. So the physical expression of the personality becomes very different depending how we choose to embody that unique light. But exercise is good for everybody. We can agree on that. And so the way we choose to embody that exercise is up to us. It's up to us to find that one thing or several things that inspire us or drive us that we enjoy doing, so we can cultivate that best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we're young, the best way to do that is just try a lot of things. This is why they say when you're young, you should be trying a lot of things. Because the more you settle when you're young, the harder it is going to be to try new things when you're older, because you're going to be already set in your ways. You're already going to have a business, you're already going to have a family and a child. Where are you going to find time to try things? Well, in your 40s, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, true.
This is why we say we have your teenage years and your 20s, right? And that's when you should be trying as many things as possible, within reason, of course. within reason, but try different jobs, try different interests, try different hobbies, try different sports, try different countries, cultures, foods, so on and so forth. Because that's then gonna give you a much better understanding and image of how you can live life.
True. Hmm. Good. Good thing. So, where are you at right now? Where are you at? Yes, in the term of, you know, life.
I'm having the time
Good.
of my life. I'm traveling, as I've been doing for the past 10 years.
10 years, right?
I started traveling at the age of 18.
18.
Yes. And I've been traveling almost non-stop during those 10 years. I've had places that are rented for a few months here and there, but generally I like to give myself time in order to experience the countries that I'm visiting. So I would spend a few months per country, but now I'm totally in around 40 countries. Around, just under, I think, 40 countries. And I stayed in those countries, I studied the cultures, I studied the religions. I, as much as I was able to, I was looking for monks, priests, and people of authority that I could study from, like doctors or whatever. Anyone who was willing to listen to me, basically, I would go and study with in the beginning in order to try and gain a better understanding of everything. But at this point, in particular, I find myself in a very fun place where I, I've got basically everything sorted. The only thing that I haven't fully sorted out yet is my business. But time will come for that as well. Because
Business.
yeah, I've got online business going. Like I teach people, I do online sessions, energy healing. I teach energy healing, and so I'm doing that, and it's enough for me to pay all my bills. But it's not at the point where it's super successful, where I'm driving in a Lambo.
Do you need to drive in a Lambo?
No, I don't. I am happy and content with what I've got. Like right now I'm in Bali. I like this house. I take this house. I like that
Yeah.
house. I take that house. Of course, as the amount of money I have increases, I would like to experience different things because generally I experience luxuries from time to time, but I do not intend on constantly being in luxury in my life.
Mm.
Personally, I just don't see the need, don't see the point, because I think simplicity is best. It's a form of stoicism that I follow,
Yeah.
where they say, okay, indulge in luxury, but not in an excessive manner. So from time to time, I stay at a five-star hotel. From time to time, I treat myself to a luxury restaurant, but I wouldn't dine there every day
Mm. Sure.
because the music makes the hearing dull. The tasteful foods make the taste bland. The beautiful sights make the eyes weak. Like in anything in excess causes the person to basically waste away or to destroy himself.
Mm.
You just check something. Because your microphone
It's not blipping?
is blinking red.
Blinking red?
Yes.
Maybe it's
Running out.
running out. Okay.
So I guess we ended.
Yeah.
Would you like to have some closing words? Share some wisdom with us?
Share some wisdom. What wisdom? I think from our conversations, our casual conversation actually, I can tell that you're very knowledgeable in the term of your experiences and also the things you are believing. And I'm very thankful to know you too to share it. But I'll see much clarity. Clarity. I think that's very important in someone's path and someone's journey because, like you said, everyone's journey is different. We might travel, but we're in different part of travel, and yeah, I think that is finding clarity, and I found that I'm halfway to get there right now, closer, I guess. Thanks for our casual talk.